This episode is brought to you by Beyond Pride. When you advertise with First Nations, make sure you advertise with pride. That's www.beyondpride.com. Pride spelled PRYDE.com. We're back for another episode of the Creators Game Podcast. I'm Dale Miller, and I'm joined by
Jay Smith
and
Layne Smith.
And we're going to be talking a lot of lacrosse, but let's get to know Layne first for all of our viewers who are listening, who may not know you. When was the very first time that you picked up a lacrosse stick?
Well, I know I had one as soon as I came out, like in my crib. It's the first time I grabbed onto one. I would say 3 years old. I hit the floor, knee pads, everything, had the big bubble cage on. That's when I started. I started in Brantford. He was my coach, my old dad. And then, just been playing since then. It's about 27, so 24 years under my belt already.
And for those who are watching right now, I know there's been I know you've mentioned it probably every episode. Very proud father right here. Yep. He mentions you every episode. Father and son right here. So for everyone, for context, during the episode. And we also, the general manager of the Rivermen, and a player on the Allegany Arrows, who used to be on the Rivermen as well. And this is the cup right here. For context for everyone who is watching right now. But let's get into this. I want to ask some questions about the Rivermen and about your dad here.
Yeah.
What do you think is his best quality as a coach?
I would say for my dad, his best quality as a coach would be he understands what's going on behind the game. You get a lot of coaches who they just see the game and they see the players there, and that's all it is. But he'll look beyond what's going on at home, what's going on with family life. It's more of an understanding, you see him as a person, not just a player. And that's something I've always appreciated from my dad. And that's kind of something I instill when I coach, is you don't know what's going on outside this arena. For lacrosse, for a lot of kids, it's a release, right? A chance to get away, school, girlfriends, boyfriends, parents, you don't know what's going on. And that's one thing that I've taken away from my dad's coaching style is he sees you for more than just somebody wearing a uniform and going on the floor.
Yeah, it's more than just the logo, the name on the back. It's everything. It's the people who are in the fans who are watching and cheering you on, the community that you represent. And then what would you say as you coach your son? What do you think is his greatest quality on the floor?
I would say overcoming adversity, because I do try to look at, as Layne said, I do try to look at what goes on behind the scenes, and being on minor lacrosse executives, junior executives, coaching all these years, and we're in a small community, so you do get to know pretty much everybody and their family. So oftentimes you know what's going on behind the scenes before the player gets to the arena. For example, one time I got a text and it was did you hear what happened? Blah, 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 blah. And yes, like any small community, our community's full of gossip. Sometimes I'm the topic, sometimes I'm the gossip, and everybody's guilty of it. But having said that, oftentimes I'll know if a player is going to get to the game or practice, oftentimes by already knowing what's going on in their family, because we are a small community. So there's a lot of leeway you have to give. And when I say one of Layne's greatest attributes is overcoming adversity, is I've said it a lot. I think because I don't really kiss anybody's ass. The old saying, sins of the father are paid onto the son. I personally think that there's been sometimes when he's been overlooked for greater opportunities because people don't like me. And quite frankly, I don't care if you don't like me. Don't take it out on my kids. I've coached Layne. My oldest son, Brody, I just started coaching him in the last few years. I've coached my youngest son. My other boy, John, I haven't got a chance to really coach him. He's the type of player that'll play with his buddies, whether or not he wants to play at the highest level he possibly could. I don't know if he does, but he likes to play with these buddies. So there's been times when I'm trying to coach elite teams, he wants to have fun, so he's not on it. But I think that's one of Layne's biggest things is overcoming adversity, not just in everyday life, community-wise, personal life, but on the floor too, because, there's There's been times when I've not coached him and I've sat there and I'm like, why the can't these coaches see this is what this other team is doing to him and this is what needs to be adjusted? And I'm coaching from the stands like most dads do. But yeah, there's been times when I think as a parent, he's been dealt a bad hand. I've seen it. There's been times that, like I said, he's been overlooked for them, but he's still playing. He hasn't gave up. He's still playing. So to me, one of his biggest attributes is overcoming adversity.
It's pretty thorough answer you got there.
Yeah.
So like when you think of because if your dad's the coach, why leave the Rivermen? And if you like those qualities about him, like why leave the Rivermen? What was the thought process of like, okay, I'm gonna go do this with Allegany rather than go do this with the Rivermen? Because this could have been yours sitting in front of you right now.
I'm gonna add, I have won that once or twice already.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
You could have went there again.
Yeah.
I'm going to add that he also touched this
here.
twice, winning it twice, touched it twice, went on to the President's Cup, didn't win the President's Cup.
For leaving the Rivermen, the thought process behind it kind of started around wintertime. One of my best friends, Chase Martin, he's our goalie, and I've played on junior teams with Chase, beer league teams with Chase, like tournament teams, and it's been a while since we've played on a summer ball team together. He went out there last year, and yeah, just in the wintertime, like playing in the ALL, like we were on the Bears together, and it was a fun time. And he was kind of bugging me, hey, you gonna come to Allegany? Because last year he was there and was asking if I wanted to go with him, and I was like, I'm just gonna stay at home. I've stayed at home almost my whole career, and this year I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna give it a shot. Like, playing a different league. Allegany's not that far, like it's hour to border, hour across the border. Very nice drive. And then, I would just say, I'm getting older in my career and just having the chance to explore my options, I guess. And to go play for another reserve and knowing how our people are, I knew I was going to go somewhere where it felt like home away from home, I guess. There's other boys from here on the team. So getting the opportunity to play alongside like some of the Bandits players, Riptide, Albany players, like it was a really nice experience, or really good to have a chance to experience playing with NL guys. I've learned a lot, and it was an awkward conversation for sure. Like saying, "Hey, Dad, I want to go to Allegany," and
what did you think his response was going to be?
As a GM or a dad?
as a dad, let's go to as a dad.
As a dad, I knew he'd be pissed. So I was kind of humming and hawing about it. I told my buddy, like, I'll think about it. But I also said that last time he asked too. So I really sat down, really thought about it. I was like, I'm just going to ask, And I never did, like, because there's paperwork you have to fill out and apply for, like a transfer. And I never took that step right away. I just kind of, bugged my dad about it, like, hey, kind of thinking about going to Allegany. Took it a lot better than I thought. I was waiting for him to hair up. He didn't. He was just like, well, let me know what you're gonna do. That's when I seen the GM side flip, and that's when he turned to business, right? Because lacrosse is a business.
He's like, what can I sell him for? What can I get out in return out of this one?
He just kind of rubbing his hands.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a good trade for this one. Might as well make it worth it.
But we talked about it, and it was on the table, and it was off the table, and it was on the table, and it was off, and it just the time came where I was like, I'm just gonna make this choice. I've been thinking about it long enough. If I've been thinking about it this long, I might as well do it. So I put my paperwork in, and then from there, it was GM and ownership and GMs reaching out to each other after that. What goes on behind the scenes. That's what they do, right? So I don't have any
So what's the environment like with the organization out there? Because like, it's
Yeah.
still Haudenosaunee, it's still like lacrosse, you
Yeah.
know. But like you played on Six Nations your whole life. What was the vibe out there? What was the fans like? Were they welcoming? Were they kind of like, oh, we got a Six Nations player here coming to try to take one of our slots? I don't know how many people they allow on the team for this this league.
Well, that was kind of one of the first thoughts I was thinking about is how is a hometown boy going to feel if I go to Allegany and I end up taking somebody's spot. But that mindset. I got thinking about I've been on teams where somebody from a different community's come in and taken spots away from like my friends or even myself. So I really thought like old dad says, lacrosse is a business. So I was like, if I'm taking somebody's spot, I'm taking somebody's spot. It's unfortunate if it does happen. I was a little nervous going out there. My first trip up there, I rode with Chase, Darius Anderson. He's from here. Cole Whipcombe. He's from Allegany, but he's around to six a lot. So we all rode up together, and it was a good time. Like just boys being boys, talking about the game, talking about what Allegany's like. And I remember my first game. Actually, my first game wasn't in Allegany; it was in Onondaga, and it's a tough arena to play in. They're all big, mean, and tough. But everyone is welcoming. I walk in the dressing room, everybody's give me the, how's it going, Layne? Nice to have you here. I think I was nervous, just because I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to prove myself that this is a good move for me, and I wasn't going to let the team down. So I felt like I had something to prove, and getting to Allegany in the first home game, it was great. Like you see, like hometown pride. Like Allegany is not the biggest community, like ours is triple the size, but you wouldn't be able to tell from the crowd. Like they bring in a lot of people. They're very community organized. Like you got little kids out there asking, hey, can you sign my ball, can you sign my shirt? We've done player meetings where we all 25 of us sat down and we all signed shirts for like half an hour, and it was really nice, and it felt like another home. I didn't feel out of place. I didn't feel awkward. Like when I walked on the arena, I just felt like I was walking in, to the ILA, and it was good. I'm really appreciative that some of my friends there, especially Chase, my close friend, because that kind of settled my nerves a little bit. But yeah, like Allegany, it's a great community. I really respect the love for the game that they hold, and I really respect how welcoming everyone is. Yeah, like it's a good time over there. I really enjoy it.
What was the talk in the dressing room? Like once you got like comfortable and everyone kind of got to know each other, what was who was the first person to break the ice and be like, so who we got to look out for on like the Rivermen or even the Warriors at the time? Like, oh, like you're going to be playing hometown boys. So like, who was the first person to be like, yeah, I don't fuck with this person. just to be straight out there.
I know going into the Grand River Warriors game, it's almost like when another community plays another community, like two Haudenosaunee teams play each other. Those are some of the most intense games I've ever been a part of, and it's like community pride, right? Like one wants to beat the other. We beat Allegany or we beat Grand River. So going into the Grand River game, everyone was we're kind of all locked in. Nobody really had much to say other than they knew it was going to be an outright war on the floor. The CanAm League, they're all different reservations. This time a little different, right? Because Six Nations lacrosse, it's mean, it's tough, it's fast. And I felt like the skill on Grand River was better than the other reservations like that we played. They gave us a really good go. Like it was a close game. That game, that's one of the games where if you're coming from a visiting team to ILA, like I was on that side of the ball this time. And, this is still my home arena. This is still ILA. It's still, 5 minutes from home. And that game, I would say, yeah, like nobody was really talking trash to start the game, but everybody knew like we had a job to do. It seemed like the mentality kind of flipped. We're going in to play Tuscarora or Newtown. We know, okay, this guy can score, this guy can score. We get to the Grand River game, we're like, okay, everybody out there's good. As for the Rivermen, I won't leak any plans or game plans or details to the GM over here. But we've already discussed offensive systems, defensive systems, who's gonna go here, go there. It's gonna be a different experience for sure. It's the first time I've ever played against a team my dad was a part of.
Do you think you're going to be able to get under the Riverman's skin more because you know exactly who to target, or be like, yeah, just go bug that person, go get them to run up the penalties?
I would say in terms of getting under people's skin, once you get to senior, you know who has a short temper. But I know going to the President's Cup, everybody who's got a short temper, that leash is going to be tight, right? Like I already know, I can imagine my dad's telling guys, I know this is your game, you retaliate a lot, you talk a lot of trash, zip it, tighten it up. I know how my dad is, and for me going in it, I know I'm I got buddies on the team, good friends. I know I'm probably gonna get a couple extra slashes, a couple extra cross checks, just for the fact of leaving your hometown, right? But also to say, hey, we're still here, we're buddies off the floor, but when you face each other, there's no friends on the floor. For me, I'm gonna pad up, wear my extra pads. I'm expecting a couple of chirps we've thrown, but that comes with every game, right? Just expecting a little extra because they are my friends, right? But, like I mentioned before, there's no friends on the floor. As soon as that whistle goes, it's game time. You can save the laughs and the jokes for between periods or after the game outside. I'm expecting a couple extra hits here and there, and I'm expecting my dad to be saying something to me right from the crowd. If I miss a net, he loves yelling at me when I miss a net.
Whoever's reffing that, just call it right away on sportsmanlike conduct. Just throw him out of the game, He's talking shit from the fans or something like that.
My dad's picking on me.
So what about what other team are you excited to play going into the President Cup? Other than obviously you want to play the Rivermen because it's going to be exciting, But what other teams?
I'm excited to have another go at playing against Ladner. They're back-to-back President's Cup champs. Their goalie, they got Del Bianco in net, and he's the reigning. I don't know if he won it this year, but I know before he won goalie of the year, in the NLL, and he deserves it. He's a great goalie. I'm excited for the opportunity to fire a ball at him. Hope I can put one past him. Another team is I think it's what is it called? The Standing Buffalo or the Sioux team? I don't know.
Standing Buffalo Fighting Sioux.
Buffalo Fighting Sioux. Yeah, Jeff Shatler's team. They're loading up. They got Jeff Shatler's making his comeback there. Sean Evans, Curtis Dixon. The opportunity to share the floor with those type of guys and play against them is something I'm really looking forward to.
And but I can imagine because playing with Six Nations for all these years, you probably shot against those goalies a lot. Those Six Nations goalies.
Yeah.
Like Hutchinson or something like that.
Yeah.
So you probably know exactly where to shoot.
Yeah, I've I've already been thinking of scenarios and shot selections. Just my spare time, I'll get thinking about when that game comes. I know how Dusty plays and how I think I can score on him. Hutchison, we played him all this year. Well, when I started the year with Riverman, and then all last year he was with Ennismore. This time around though, I don't see myself getting as many shots as I did before because the Presidents is the best of the best, right? When Hutchison was with Ennismore, they're not the strongest team in the league. So, I could get 15, 20 shots off in a game, score 3 or 4. But this time around, they got a tough defense in front of them. That's what the Rivermen are known for is they have really tough, really strong, intimidating defense. That's the game they play. And so I know when I get my chance to shoot, I got to make it worth it. I've already been, kind of in my head, thinking about where I'm going to shoot on Dusty, where I'm going to shoot at Hutchison. All these other goalies on the other teams, I haven't really had a lot of chances with them other than going to a President's Cup. But you only see them once and one time only, right? You get one chance to play them. Del Bianco, Ladner, I can't wait to shoot on him again. Didn't manage to put one on him last time. And the Standing Buffalo Fighting Sioux, they got Shigliano in net, NLL guy. Never shot him in my life. And then the other teams, I don't know who they got going in net. But, that's the good part is they don't know me and I don't know them. Kind of 50-50 chances there.
So, what was the story behind the ice cream cone that got thrown at you?
Oh yeah, so that was that was game 2 in Tonawanda, and game 1 it was a very tight game, went to OT. Right, that was our first we're in a game here in that league because we ran that league, and then we get to Tonawanda game 2. We're expecting a hard fought game again, but we took game 1 personally. We were like, no way we're gonna let that happen again. So we put our foot on the gas and we gave it to them, and it was it was under 2 minutes left in the third period for sure. I got chasing a guy at the boards, I pressured him. Another guy came, set a pick, just missed me, so I gave him a little shove. Gave me a slash, and he wanted to go. It was one of my buddies. He wanted to go, and I get it, heat of the moment. Game 2 finals, you're in your home barn. If you're pissed off, you want to go with somebody. You go whoever's closest. You don't care if you know them or not. I was like, we're not going. There's a minute 38 seconds left. We're up by 10, 11 goals.
Yeah, it was just
No point in getting suspended and missing the next game, right? Especially game 3, that's where we can win it. He just kept checking me, and I just grabbed him, gave him a hip toss, and we laid there. And that's when things kind of cooled down. I think he kind of realized what just happened, and I was like, "You good?" And he's like, "Yeah." So we separated, and I go to the box. And
that's so awesome. You good? Yeah.
Yeah. We smiled and laughed about it in game 3. We went up to each other and kind of bugging each other about it. And so, anyways, I go to the penalty box, and in Tonawanda, it's an outdoor box, right? It's all fenced around. It's similar to the cage on the trail there, where everybody goes play ball. Because people are they reach through the fence and try to grab you. It was intense. People are all around the fence there, and even by our penalty box, that's kind of a hot spot, right? You want to go stand by the other team's penalty box, egg them on, kind of thing. We already had a guy in the box. It was one of the Bandits players, and kids are yelling at him, "Hey Chase, hey Fraser!" They're excited, right? And then I'm in there because I just got in a scuffle with somebody. And there's a guy in the crowd chirping, "Oh, you don't want to fight, fat boy," blah, blah, blah. And, I'm lipping off back. I run my mouth. And I told him, suit up. They need your help out there.
Suit up?
And he just kept going. And I kind of cooled myself down. My little daughter was there watching, and she come over and was like, "Hey, Dad, how, whatever." I don't know. I can't remember what she said, but I just told her, I was like, "Go sit back down. It's getting kind of wild over here. I don't need you over here." It was maybe 10 seconds after that, I'm watching the game. Another guy of ours just got a penalty, and the crowd's giving it to us. They're yelling, they're swearing. And then, I didn't see it at first. I just kind of felt something brush my face. And sure enough, it was a little takeaway bowl full of ice cream. I wanted to pick it up and kind of look in the crowd and eat it, but it was all mud, so I couldn't. And then I jokingly, I was like, "Can you guys throw me a scone dog or something? Throw me something good," and they didn't like that. But they get pretty rowdy over there, and then security got called over. They had to stand around the penalty box so nobody could throw stuff at us. And it was the first time I've ever had food thrown at me at a lacrosse game. And that's like I mentioned before. That's when it comes down to community pride. It's an all out war. Our res is better than your res kind of thing, right? Those are the best games to play, and I find that feeling, that energy that comes with playing another Haudenosaunee team. It's you'll never find it playing against a non-Haudenosaunee team. Playoff games get intense, but there's nothing better than 2 Haudenosaunee teams going at it.
I can imagine walking into that dressing room because just that tension the very first time you walk into that dress room, and you're eventually going to get along with all these players because you're going to have to play with them, you're going to have to get along, but that very first walkthrough, they're squaring you up, they're looking at you oh yeah, Six Nations guys here, thinks he can come in and play with us, thinks he can hang with us, and all these different mentalities are in one room. What was something funny that someone said to you to kind of break the ice, I guess, to be hey, what was the first thing that kind of just kind of broke the ice in the dressing room, just being like who was the first person to reach out? Because I can't imagine at first anyone would actually come up to you who didn't know you. Like you said, you had friends on the team.
Yeah.
But who was the first person to reach out that you didn't know and was just like, yeah, I seen you play. I fuck with you. You're pretty good.
I'm trying to think. There's a couple guys like I know. I got kind of close with a lefty. He's Nate Kettle, his name. He's a younger guy. He just come up and me and him kind of just gelled right away. Sometimes he'll ask me stuff. I'll ask him stuff. Like I know he's been in the league for a couple of years, and he really like talked me over some offensive stuff. He was very helpful. Another guy would be like Sherm Williams. I've played with Sherm before, but he's from the area, and he kind of was like, hey, it's good to have you again, have you back on the same team as me. He broke the ice. Jesse Jimerson, he's from out there, but he has ties as a six, so he's, he talks to everybody. He knows everybody. He's our captain, actually. Another guy. There's so many. They're all very nice. They're all very welcoming, right? So it's hard to kind of try to pick one guy. If I could, like, I'd say probably Nate's dad, Carl. We call him Lito. He's a player coach. And he's awesome. He's good to have. Like he talks to everybody. He's like, oh, I've seen you play here. I've seen you play there. This guy's played here. Like he knows his stuff. But yeah, he's very welcoming. Yeah, I mean, if I had to pick one guy, I don't know if I could, because everybody they're you walk in and they walk around the dressing room. Everybody says see you later at the end of the games. Everybody says what's up when they come in the room. Yeah, it's a good mix of fellas, and yeah, there wasn't. I would say the awkwardness would have been on me going in, not knowing what to expect. But yeah, everybody there just makes you feel right.
Yeah, probably like super supportive and just embracing you as a player, being like, yeah, we finally got someone good on the team, as opposed to bringing in someone who wouldn't bring like any value to the team. So I got a question for you. I want to know about this beaver. When did you know about this beaver here? Because we got to start talking about this this cup. It's been in front of us.
I noticed the beaver when you pointed it out to me earlier. I didn't know it was on there.
You didn't know it was on there.
No.
So how do you see the President's Cup ending now? Because
well,
are you actually deep down, or do you want to win, or are you cheering for your son?
Well, the goal was many years ago. My grandfather and my uncle, so a father-son combination, won the President's Cup twice. And the goal was for me and one of my boys to win the President's Cup. Layne was been with the Rivermen off and on since like 2017. My oldest boy Brody, he couldn't commit to a senior B schedule, so he didn't even try out this year. The only other one senior eligibility is John, and like I said, he's more of a play for his buddies, not necessarily at the highest caliber that he could. So the goal this year was to become the second father and son combination in our family to win a President's Cup. That was my goal. That's been my dream. I want my name on the same cup as my grandfather and my Uncle Wayne. So when Layne was talking about it, and I told him, I said, it hurts. But again, like, flip the switch, flip the hat, take the dad hat off, put the GM hat on. I said, okay, well, I got to see what I can get for you. And I've said it on here. I say it out in public. Like, lacrosse is a business. Sometimes it can be ruthless. I had to sell my own son, and it's a joke, but that's kind of what happened. Layne's won this trophy twice. This is my first kick at it because this is my first time in the Senior B loop. So, as a rookie GM, and I've gotten this far. I didn't win this. The team won it. The players won it. The organization won it. I didn't win this by myself. It takes a lot. It takes a lot behind the scenes. It takes a lot on the floor. It takes a lot of communication. It takes a lot of headaches, a lot of stress, but we're here. And we're going to the President's Cup. And I've said to Layne, you know, I've said it to him a lot. You know, Allegany is good, but you know that's a lot of dollars to get to the President's Cup for a silver medal. He's didn't want to spill the beans. He's played with a lot of these guys on the Rivermen. He knows what to expect. Our defense is very strong, and not knocking the CanAm league, but the Allegany Arrows have not seen a defense like we have. Not this year, they haven't.
The octave in your voice changed
It
when
did.
you said that.
It's called putting the fear of God in people.
The fear of God or the fear of Dad?
Both. Don't make me take my belt off.
Holy fuck, right on the mic. No, Daddy, no. Holy
But
fuck.
I mean, that's true. Allegany is a good team. They've ran roughshod over everybody in CanAm.
Yeah.
They have a very strong offense.
Well, hey, they were Warriors did good. What are you talking about?
Did they win?
Warriors for life, man.
But did they win?
In my heart, fucking
Okay.
right. Every game, man.
Because while we're on the Warriors, and I mean the Grand River Warriors took a lot of players from last year's Tomahawks, and I knew that would happen. I knew that when the CanAm team started, they would take a lot of the good players from the Tomahawks. I knew that. Grand River Warriors, as a first-year team, did great. They came and we had a scrimmage against the Grand River Warriors early in the season.
I was there.
Who won?
Talking about
Who won?
our
Rivermen.
fucking Grand River Warriors. I was there. I don't
Maybe
know.
in your heart.
Yeah, man. It's all that matters, right?
Yeah, and
Peace, love, and
that
joy.
and that team that the Rivermen suited up that night was all guys trying out. They weren't none of our signings.
None of the Grand River Warriors. I actually, when I think about it, none of the Grand River Warriors were out there.
I mean, they dressed 30 guys. It didn't do them any good.
I wasn't out there. No, just kidding.
No, it was good. It was good for both teams. It was good to gel. It was good. It was a good scrimmage. It was.
Yeah.
It gave both teams a look at who they have, who they want to keep, who they want to let go. I mean, I know on both sides some guys were let go that night. I know that. It was a good measuring stick. So fast forward, yes, I was at the Allegany Grand River game at the ILA, and it was close. What was it, 13-9?
I think so, yeah.
And like that's a respectable score in lacrosse. Losing by 4 as an expansion team to the eventual league championship or league champions, that's a respectable score. That was a good game. And I stood there and watched, and I looked at him. I watched Allegany, watched him warm up, got there early, had my notepad out, and I looked at him again, and I watched the game, and I said,
What kind of stick figures are you drawing in that notepad?
just mostly the hangman.
Hey,
He just drew my number to the heart.
And I said, these guys ain't beating us. They ain't.
ooh.
They're high-powered offense. I get it. I'll say it again. They have not
Best
seen
offense at Presidents, we'll say.
at the golf tournament, the President's Cup. They have not seen a defense like ours. I have a defensive player.
You guys do have really good defense, but I would say like they do have the offense though.
To
But,
do
like,
what though?
I don't know. You never know. They could just shoot from way out.
They could. Father-son had to talk because Layne played ALL for the Oswego Bears. Dusty Hill plays in net for the Snipers. And I said more than once, why'd you score, Layne? He said, his words, can't score on Dusty. Can't figure him out.
You can figure them out.
Am I worried about it? No.
Mind you, the game he's talking about, I did put up 5. I got it on film.
Oh! He's got the footage.
You know what though? Dusty does give me a hard time when I shoot. It's just, when I'm hot kind of thing. And same with Dusty. When he's hot, he's hot. Great goalie. But yeah, like he does give me a rough goal. Like I know practices with the Rivermen, I just get annoyed. We'd do horseshoe and I'd go down the other end to avoid Dusty because I just get pissed off trying to dial my twig in and he's saving everything. And he does it so like he's very humble, very calm. You get some goalies who like they chirp right in practice. Oh, you can't score on me, or I had your number tonight. Dusty don't care, just smile at you, he'd laugh at you sometimes.
And I have a one particular defenseman on our team who I hold very dear to my heart. Him and I have had a talk, And we all know what his temperament is. We all know that he might be on a short leash. He might not be. He has said, these are the games I definitely want in on. And one of them's against Allegany.
See the fear tactics. It's back to the fear
I know who
tactics.
he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I won't expose it, but... and Chase used to be on the Rivermen. And Layne and Chase start playing. I think you had mentioned before in conversation playing at the same spot. It's called Stone Ridge Stadium.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Stoner.
The big open field between Chase's place and my mom's place, right on the corner there. That's where these two became such close friends. And what do you guys got pictures as rebels?
Oh, there's like 7 of them. Yeah.
Founders Cup champions, ALL champions. 2019 inaugural Tomahawk season, they were on that as champions.
Rivermen, we got Rivermen together.
Rivermen,
Allegany.
so they have a storied past playing together. But
that silver medal.
the Rivermen also know where to shoot on Chase.
Who? Okay. Well, you're friends with Chase. So
Yeah, I would say best friends. We're very tight.
okay. So best friends, very tight. Who's the better goalie?
In my opinion, I don't think at the tournament, all time, like I'm going to say Del Bianco's going to be the best guy there. When it comes down to between Dusty and Chase, I got to give it to my best friend. I've always said he's really underrated. A lot of people overlook him, and I feel like he could walk on an NL team and start. He's had his chances with the Chiefs. He shut the door with the Chiefs, and that's like summer NLL ball, right? Anywhere Chase has been, he's top goalie. I always joke about it. Me and Chase always joke about it. Anytime we get together on a team, we usually win. So we see so far how this season has been. We came out champs, and I do my honest opinion. I think Chase is one of the best in the world here in net. Obviously, there is guys better than him. You can't knock Dougie, you can't knock Del Bianco, you can't knock Warren. But I do think Chase is very, very high up there on my list. He just, he needs the shot. Like I think if any NLL team picked him up and put him in a game, he would shut the door.
What about some of the other players that maybe you have grown up playing with? Who are some of the players that you grew up playing with that you just wish kept going? Like they could have been a superstar. They could have been this or that had whatever happened in their life not happened, or like who's someone who could have just been out of here.
I can think of a couple right off the top of my head. Like I know, Doug Jameson's got a brother. They're not twins, so they call it Irish twins. Levi. I remember this player my dad's been talking about on the Rivermen, very similar. I remember being 10, 11 years old, Pee Wee Bantam. He was like grown man size. Like he was like pushing 6 feet. He was jacked at 10 years old, 11 years old, and he was good. He could score goals. He could play defense. He could play goalie. We've had to stick him in net before when Doug was injured. And he couldn't tell the difference. Like he was just as good as Doug. But he didn't stick with it. I wish he would have. There's a couple other guys I can think of. Vern. Vern still plays, like Vern Hill. One of my close friends. And he still plays. But I think if he took the game a little more serious, like in my opinion, he's the smartest player in lacrosse. You ever watch Vern play? Like he's picking off passes, he's gliding up and down the floor, scoring goals, left hand, right hand. Great, but I wish he would take the game a little more serious. But Vern's Vern. He just likes to chill out sometimes. Just trying to think who else. Like one of my closer friends, Rick Smith. He played Rebels with me. Grew up with me. We've been on the same team. Best quick stick I've ever seen on the crease. Catch it, put the ball in it. You can throw it at him as fast as you can. He'd catch it and put it in the net. After junior, he was kind of done. Pursued his career, his work career. wish he would have kept playing. Sometimes I give him a shout. Hey, I would love to have you out there, on the backside there, catching the ball and putting it in. Probably the last one I could say, just thinking about it, would be Drayton Martin. Again, he's a machine. Guy doesn't stop motoring. He doesn't stop hitting. He doesn't stop, being an intense player. And he'll do it with a smile on his face. He'll knock you over and just look at you and smile and keep going. But he could do it all. He could play offense. He could play defense. He could take face-offs. He could fight. He would do whatever he had to do for the team. It would be nice to see him hit the floor again. He's one of my favorite players to have on my team. Just watching the way he'd play, he'd bring such an intensity. We could be getting beat by like 10 goals, and he's still laying everybody out. Like, he just does not care. He's there. The moment that first whistle goes to the end, it's just intensity. Wish he would have kept going.
So what do you think about like the CanAm League? I feel that like all these players that you're naming, like now that the Grand River Warriors has a team, and that's like another place that more players can play, and then they have that, like, they have talent there, and then like it is a team that you can play for, and it's like, okay, there's a practice once a week, there's a game, all these different things like that. So like some of the players that you just named, like, what do you think that we need on Six Nations where we can have more, or how can we build the CanAm League, let's say, so that maybe the Grand River Warriors can have us like a better team, or we can have more players play? Because like you're naming so many players that still like these guys ain't, they're not old and washed.
No, I still think some of the guys I named, they could still walk on the floor and be an impact.
So like, yeah, like there's so many players that like we need more teams, we need more outlets. So like what could be done for, like, let's say the CanAm League, because now you are, Allegany Warriors. So what do you think that league needs in general?
I think a little more expansion, right? Because it's called CanAm, it's supposed to be Canada America, right? The Canadian American League, and there's only one team in Canada, right? That's the Grand River Warriors. I think expansion would do great, like maybe a team in Niagara, St. Catharines. Just like those teams kind of floating around near the border. Those areas would be good. I think expansion in the CanAm League, I feel, would bring a lot more talent. And just all it comes down to is, you get the Junior B League, Junior A League, there's 12 teams. Junior B's got a ton of teams. Junior A's got a ton of teams. Then you hit like OLA, for example, like the league Rivermen's in, there's 6. You get to CanAm, there's 6, right? I think expansion and providing a place for these high caliber players to go play would benefit the game greatly. I know there's the Senior C Loop, and that was created kind of as like geared towards the working man, right? Like somebody who can't commit to a Senior A, Senior B. But with that too, there's a lot of guys in Senior C who, in my opinion, shouldn't be there. They're too good. I think expansion, like if I could pick areas for them to play out, I would say bring a team to Buffalo, right? I know Tonawanda, Tuscarora, they're right there. Just put a team in Buffalo, put a team in St. Catharines, put a team in, call them the Niagara, whatever. Just put them there, so like still on the Canada side.
Even Fort Erie.
Yeah, Fort Erie, like Fort Erie's right there. Everywhere the border is right there would be great. As for the Grand River team getting better, I mean, they got a great squad. I got a lot of buddies on that team. As an expansion team, like, you don't expect to come out the gate and win. There's building. I find the issue with senior is when you're in junior, that's the be all end all. You got to make the Arrows, you got to make the Rebels, you got to be on this team, right, to be somebody. And I think a lot of kids, that's where they make it or break it, and they kind of just like leave it at that. And then once you get to senior, you've been out of the game so long, you don't really want to jump back in. My outlook on it is you don't have to play lacrosse to be somebody, right? There's much more to life than that. It's just senior it's grown men, right? People have wives, they have work, they have careers, they have kids, they have lives outside of lacrosse, and I find that's like the disconnect, as a lot of people don't care. And that's okay with it. That's okay with like me, like I mentioned with my dad, like there's more beyond the game. But I think the issue is expansion. Some guys that come to Riverman or they come to Allegany or any of these other teams in the senior loops, they get cut. They just kind of they don't go anywhere else. A lot of them are just like, I'll try next year. I can still wake up and go to work the next day. And I think that's like a funnel, right? Like you take all these junior teams and it comes a senior, very small. And that's what the only thing I can think for senior to get better is to kind of widen the league. Yeah.
You'll have to check your new league's rules there, because I think for an expansion team, they have to be associated with an Indigenous community.
Oh, really?
When I was looking into a junior B team in FNLA years ago, I pitched the idea of putting it in Port Dover.
Oh, yeah.
Because Port Dover has a good arena. There's a good draw with a lake right there. Good tourist attractions. And I was told it would never fly because it's not on a reserve. My argument there was Hagersville Tigers were in Hagersville, not on a reserve. Caledonia Chiefs were in Caledonia, not on a reserve. Of course, Six Nations players would are the ones played for both of them, but I'm not sure if that's still in place for CanAm. But you had to basically be on a Native community.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Mississauga of the credit.
Here we
3
go.
fires all day.
I was going to say that I was watching the last couple episodes there, and I did see a discussion about having a Mississauga of the credit team. And, it could fly. Like, with our community, you could have a Mississauga team. It doesn't necessarily have to be every single player from there. Like we talked about Grand River, they got players from other central cities there. And for Allegany, like we got people from Canada, we got people from America. It doesn't have to be just from that area. Like you can bring people in, and I think it could fly. Like we got Grand River, we could have a Six Nations, we could have an Oswego, we could have a Mississauga. It's all in the same general area, all different names.
Granted, but is there a CanAm rule that says X amount of players have to be Native?
I don't think so.
I can't imagine so, because then we would have the Allura Mohawks in the CanAm League.
That's not a bad idea.
Hey, I'm sure they're on it.
Well, and Layne's right on the whole funneling system. Like Junior B has 28 teams.
I think it's something like that. Like it's a lot.
And then OJALL or whatever the hell it's called,
12,
Junior A, about a dozen teams. And before the Senior C League was formed, there was 6 teams in the OLA and Senior B. And before Senior C was started, there was 6 teams for these players coming from 28 teams and 12 teams to funnel in to try to make 6. And most of them had their core guys already set, 10, 12 guys already on the team year after year. So then there's only a few spots that they're battling for. Same thing with Junior. Junior C was developed to give players that, because if you got cut from a Junior A team, went to a Junior B team, 9 times out of 10 that B team is going to make room for those guys that just got cut from A. So they got to make room. They cut players. You either go to another B team or another A team, or you don't play because there's no place left to go. Junior C made a comeback, so then there was places for kids to play junior again. Senior C, the league was developed for that reason. So there was more opportunities for players to play coming out of junior. Senior C, I think, has a decent schedule for the working man because they play 1 weekend a month. But you're right, there's CanAm now. Grand River Warriors had a pretty decent season considering of their expansion.
And I think the CanAm League makes sense more for the working man, because most games were on the weekend. And you could all get on a bus and go to another reserve for the weekend. You don't have to worry about getting back for work and stuff like that.
The only, outside of junior, the only senior league that might have a game during the week is MSL. Rivermen Senior B is weekend league too.
I thought for sure you guys had a couple games during the week. There was a couple.
Come playoff time, yeah.
Yeah.
But not regular season. But that's the issue that I recall, and it might have changed by now. Is like I had said, the CanAm may have a rule, and I could be wrong, where it has to be on an Indigenous community. And if that's the case, then yes, there is enough players here that we could probably start another. Years ago, I think the last time I played, there was 2 CanAm teams here on Six Nations, because I played on one of them, and that was the last year I played. It was just I had been out of the game for 10 or 15 years, went back to play, and it was just too rough on me because I hadn't played in so long. Because there was a lot of guys that got cut from the Warriors even that could have walked onto another team.
I think that like even if Cuga got a CanAm team and then played out of Six Nations, like something close, but there's just so much talent that's around here that it has to be.
You need to get put on the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation Council and push for them to get a CanAm team.
Oh man, sign me up! Sign me up.
They could play out of Hagersville Arena.
No man, they're going to Mississauga. Telling you, man.
Build a complex.
Yeah.
There's already complexes in Mississauga.
They got twirly buildings. They got all the sponsors. A whole bunch.
There's multi-pad arenas in Mississauga. That's where they have the little NHL. There's like buildings with 5 pads.
There you go.
But who's going to want to travel from First Line to Mississauga for a home game?
Well, it's not. That's not that bad.
When you can just go to Hagersville.
I would want to go to Mississauga over going to Hagersville Arena.
Dust off your pads.
He's got his business hat on.
Hang on. There.
Oh, it's greasy.
Yeah.
Okay, fry bread.
I don't think CanAm's wanting to sign me. You know, pretty low.
But I mean, let's visit that on a serious note. Mississaugas of the Credit could be a good host for a CanAm team. Logistically, the dollars are in Mississauga.
Call them the Three Fires, man.
Reality, play out of Hagersville. It's closer.
It'll be lit. or
the Three Fires will be lit. See what he did?
Oh there? Yeah.
What do you mean to look at?
Or they could just play out of ILA, but just say it was on the opposite side of the road.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the ILA's address is Hagersville.
Yeah. Oh, heck, see.
Then they're going to take floor time away from their Grand River Warriors.
No. They'll be all right. Anyways, so what are you most excited for? Like, I want to know about some of these really, like, my greatest memories of lacrosse is always never anything that happened on the floor. It's like, you know, going on the road trips, going over to a buddy's house and just fighting for no reason, all these different things. What are your like growing up? What are your best memories of lacrosse off the floor?
You can't say road trips because you slept the whole well every time.
Off the floor, there's a couple of good memories. Like I know from playing in minor, the best times were when we weren't supposed to be, but we were all, you know, playing mini sticks in the hallway in hotels or dinking around outside like at our buddies' houses. And, you know, I can remember millions of times I'd be outside, like again with Chase, or if I had a buddy over that was on the same team, we'd be outside practicing plays, running around in the hot sun, and you know my dad'd be pulling up and get in the car, save your energy, you're not supposed to be outside. But that's where like some of the best memories I found happened was, you know, we have a game in Ashwegan at 8 p.m. I'd tell so and so to come over. We'd be practicing our pick and rolls at the Stone Ridge Stadium. Those are some of the best memories. Like I was fortunate enough to have a lot of friends live within that area. Some other, like I can't not mention nationals. Like nationals, we'd go to Whitby every year and spend a week there. That was probably the best memories I hold from lacrosse careers. That team, it was back then. It was Iroquois Nationals, but it's Haudenosaunee or Team First Nations now. I loved it. It was my best part of my summer was getting together with all my friends from the different reserves. We got Akwesasne guys, Ganawage, Onondaga, like you guys from every single res tryout. And, you know, we were often all on the same team growing up because it starts in Pee Wee or what's it, U13 now?
Yeah.
U13 up to U17 now. So like Pee Wee the midget. And, you know, you never see those guys all year. And then come that week, you spend a week staying in a dorm room, living together. It's quite the experience. And then, you know, always remembering trade night. Trade night at the Nationals was the best. My first experience, I didn't have much to trade. You know, my Aunt Tiff, she always told me, keep as much as you can of your team stuff because you're gonna want to pass it down.
I was gonna say, I clearly have never been to Nationals. I don't know what trade night is.
Trade night is, you know, every kid looks forward to it. Like I said, my first night I didn't have a whole lot to trade. I traded a couple sticks, couple shirts here and there. But I knew with the next time around to save anything that came my way, anything with Nationals logo on it, back then it was the Rochester Nighthawks, like all the guys I looked up that played there. Just saving as much as you can that represents us as a people. Because at trade night, that's one of the most sought after items. Like each team from each province comes, and they all have some cool stuff. Like Alberta they all bring cowboy hats. BC, they always had the best jerseys. So the goal at trade night was to kind of trade your way to the best things, and connecting with people from different provinces. Sometimes you'd run into other Haudenosaunee, or not Haudenosaunee, they'd be First Nations or Indigenous people playing for the other provinces like New Brunswick or BC. But it's crazy around there. Like it's worse than like the bread and cheese, like when everybody's there, right? There's kids running around. Will you trade this for that? My final year, I ended up taking a goalie bag, like a huge Team BC duffel bag. Like he could probably fit inside of it, and I loaded it with everything I've ever acquired over my years of trade nights. And I made out like bandit. I still got a lot of the stuff at home. I just keep put away. But it's crazy. Like it's the best time. Like everybody wants your stuff. Anything with the wampum belt on it, anything with a Nationals logo on it. I have to bring up the story of my little brother Owen. He's quite the salesman. I think he was maybe 9-10 years old,
if that.
and he started out I think with a stick.
No, he started out with a bracelet, little rubber bracelet.
Started out with a bracelet, purple, white. I can't remember what colors it was, but he started off with a bracelet. By the time we left, he was decked right out head to toe. And I always said,
That's where that BC bag came from.
From him?
Yeah, because he ended up getting. He started out with a bracelet and ended up getting literally that Team BC bag full of stuff.
Yeah.
He was just hustling.
It's almost like those TikTok trends you see when you start with a paper clip, you trade your way to a house kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. He started with this bracelet and he just kept trading and trading and trading. And it was so funny to see him at such a small age, just out there hustling, just grinding. And but yeah, this year was actually one of the first years Teams for Nations has been back for a while. There's a bit of a hiatus, and one of my friends, Tyler Brown, he's helping with that. And he's seen him post the videos of trade night, and it just memories rushed back. It was great to see.
So trade night is the last night before national tournament's over. That night, because everybody's all staying in the same dorms. We usually stayed at Durham College.
Yeah, Durham.
So all the teams are there, and trade night it's the last night that they're there, and everybody would literally take all their stuff and set up like a flea market. And the running joke, because like playing against different teams throughout the OLA, and then Layne played the Edge program for a while, so he got to know quite a few guys that he had to play against when they were on Team Ontario. And the joke was nobody ever wanted Team Ontario stuff. Even though they would always win the gold medal, nobody ever wanted their stuff. Like they'd be sitting over there just crickets, because nobody wanted their stuff. Everybody wanted Team Iroquois stuff, Team Iroquois National, our stuff. Everybody wanted. Layne, when he knew it was coming Nationals time, he'd go to the ILA sports store and buy those little wampum belt stickers, and put them on everything, and that's all people were looking for. Oh, look, there's the flag. And then we'd have players coming over with their dads. I'll give you $500 for that jersey. The dads are making these offers, and I think Layne got a high offer for his one jersey, but it was his last year, and he was like, "No, I'm going to keep it." And the guy's like, "I'll give you." What did it start at? Like, I don't know, but he got close to $500. But he was like,
up there, yeah.
"I'll give you 100. I'll give you 2. I'll give you 3." And he was standing there peeling the dollars out.
Yeah, my eyes were lit up, but I couldn't do it. It was instilled in me, right? Keep uniforms. Even right after the game, I still had my game shorts on. I had a guy come up and say, "Let me get those shorts off." I was like,
"Let me get those shorts off."
I was like, "That's all I got to wear, man."
Well, yeah, these guys were coming off the floor, and there was other players like Team Quebec. I remember a Team Quebec coach coming up and asking me if I had any of my coaching shirts. I said, I'm not going to give you my Team Iroquois shirt, but I have Six Nations minor lacrosse shirts. I'll hang on. And I went and got it, and he had Team Quebec shirts to give me, but he was like, I don't know, 5'5" and 150 pounds, so his shirt was like
Size small.
toddler
Oh yeah,
size.
so he's just like swimming in it.
So I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? But I took it. I mean, in good faith.
Yeah.
I gave it one of the kids ended up with, but trade night was insane, and everybody wanted our stuff, and all of these Team Iroquois boys wanted the Team Alberta girls stuff.
I was gonna say like trade night sounds like everyone just goes out and hooks up with each other or something
Well,
like.
see,
that.
when they started having girls nationals, Team Alberta, they all had cowboy hats, both the boys teams and the girls teams, and so many of our players would be like, yeah, and go play Cowboys and Indians. I'm gonna see if I can get me a Team Alberta girls hat. And I'm like, you guys knock it off.
And then someone comes back with one, and you're like,
more
hey.
and a lot of times too, the way the dorms are set up, it's a college campus, so there's meeting rooms on every floor, and go to do room checks. It's almost bedtime. Half our team we can't find. They're on the other side of the college on the Team Alberta girls team's floor, down in the meeting room. I'm like, you guys got to be kidding me.
What were you doing over there?
I wasn't there. I was a good kid. I just
It's a good kid.
He knew better.
I knew better. Yeah, no.
He stayed with me. That's why he couldn't sneak out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was my chaperone a couple times. Yeah. Yeah, no, like it's a great time. It's I encourage every kid if you have the chance to go to that. And like I remember we got beat by Ontario in the gold, and we reconnected with a bunch of the guys after the game, like a bunch of the Haudenosaunee teams and our Haudenosaunee players, and Team BC, and we all got together in the meeting room and rewatched the game together. Like that's what kind of camaraderie goes on there, and what kind of friendships are built. Is you hate each other on the floor, you want to be the best team, but you get together in these meeting rooms, like he's talking about. There was game rooms, there was movie rooms, and we'd all hang out and watch stuff together. But yeah, that's where I would say a lot of my memories come from that are off the floor. It's from the minor system up to junior. Like I always tell everybody, junior's the best time of your life. It's so limited, right? Like you only have from this time till you're 21, and that's it. Senior, you can play as long as you want, like until you hang them up. But unless you're getting not so good out there. But yeah, I would say from junior down, that's the best time of your life to create those core memories.
Who would you say is like someone is like I think I asked this like just to Thunder when he was here, but like who would you consider as like someone who's like your ops on the floor? Like maybe someone who like you've been fighting them since Tyke, or like every year you go against them, whether it be a team or just a single player.
Team wise, growing up in the minor system, it was Whitby. Everybody wanted to be Whitby, right? And especially they get to host qualifiers, so they don't anymore. Qualifiers travels, but before qualifiers was always in Whitby. Final six and like provincials was always in Whitby. So you always wanted to beat the host team, right? And then as you grow up, like that rivalry just gets stronger and stronger. And Whitby is one of the teams I always wanted to beat. And then Orangeville, everybody wants to be Orangeville. I would say, off the floor, we're all buddies, but on the floor, that's like it's as close as it can get as when you play another Haudenosaunee team. Like it's just a bloodbath. Player wise, he doesn't play anymore. His name's Justin Lemke. He played for Whitby. He was damn good. Wore the same number as me, so I had a specific, I wouldn't say hate, but a dislike because we wore the same number.
He's like, why you all up in my lane?
Yeah. But he was damn good. Like minor, he would just take control of a game. Junior, he'd take control of a game. Played in the OHL. Like I don't know what he does now, but he was one guy when I would see him out there in minor, and I'd be like, I don't want to play against him. Like I just can't stand him. That's who I would say. Like there's Ryan Lansbury, Jeff Teat. Like I grew up playing against those guys, and they're just hard to play against because they're so good, right? That's one of the frustrating things is when you play against somebody so good, like you can attempt to get under their skin. You can attempt to, send somebody out after them. They're just going to play their game and bury the ball, and that's what kind of pisses you off more. Someone you hate to play against, someone you love to have on your team kind of thing.
And you mentioned Jeff T. We were just talking about him last episode. Who would you say, like we're talking about this last episode, could be the Michael Jordan or LeBron James of the NLL? And then like even think about it more. Like maybe they're not the best player, but they could do what LeBron James and Michael Jordan did by the endorsements, the sponsorships, the putting on a show.
Yeah. Let me just think about that because there's a couple names that I think, or somebody that I've looked up to that I think could do that. Right now, like I would say, I'll do a non-Haudenosaunee player. So non-Haudenosaunee, I would say, is definitely Jeff Teat, right? Face of Warrior. He's a face of box lacrosse. He was smashing records as a rookie, and I've played against him growing up, seen him play, and his game is years beyond what his age is. And just the way he plays, it's so cool, so calm. And then that would be similar to like a Michael Jordan or LeBron, right? They're out there, they're calm, cool, collected, and they're there to play the game, right? They're not there to get wrapped up in any sort of dramatics or anything. They're just out there to play. And I would say Jeff Teat, for sure, like you watch him play, it doesn't look like he's trying, and he still gets, even if he only gets one goal that game, he's got 9 assists, right? Or vice versa. He can flip the script however he wants. For a Haudenosaunee player, like there's tons of players that rush to my mind that I could think of. I got to give a shout out to my buddy Larson Sundown. He's doing great things for the game of lacrosse. Great player. Plays for the Black Bears now, Ottawa Black Bears. He actually helped design the jerseys.
Those are sick jerseys too.
Yeah, and he did a good job. I've played with Larson for a long time since we were little boys playing field all the way up. And just the way he engages with the community, and not just Indigenous specifically, he engages with everybody, but he always has such a strong message, such a passion for life and for the love of the game. He's not one of those guys that are endorsed by everybody, but he's there to share the message of like the creator's game, right? Another player I could think of is everybody knows Lyle Thompson, right? He's got Nike deals. He's got his own brand. I don't know if he still has Nike deals. Like I can't speak on that, but he easily one of the best players in the world. Very calm, very humble. You watch him play. I don't think I've ever seen Lyle chirp. Guys, they do try to take cheap shots at him. He just no skin off my back. He just plays the game. Another one. My opinion that somebody that's overlooked a lot is Zed Williams. He embodies what the creator's game is supposed to be. You ever see him on TV, like the World's Games, he's blowing kisses at the cameras, right? His kids are watching at home. He kisses his stick, he's kissing his helmet, he's giving thanks to the creator for this game, his abilities, and his little brother Sherm's on Allegany with me, so I know his family, like I know his brothers, I played with his brothers, and they're all like that. They're all very just thankful. Zeddy, I think if more focus was given to him, like I wouldn't say the spotlight, but that guy deserves more recognition than he gets. He reminds me a lot, like if we're talking about like LeBron and Michael Jordan, like LeBron's got the millions of dollars and he's building schools and giving tuition to people. If that opportunity was given to Zeddy, where he could be put in a position to do something, I know without a doubt he would do that. Great guy, great lacrosse player. He does have a mean side to him. Like I seen him flop Brody Merrill, but it takes for that type of guy. It takes a lot to get him there, right? He's even in the pro field leagues, like there's a lot of spotlight on him there. About his humbleness, and they won the championship for PLL, and everybody's out throwing Gatorade around, they're popping champagne, they're having a good old time, and Zeddy's sitting in the hallway FaceTiming his kids. Right, that's the kind of person I believe could be the Michael Jordan or the LeBron James of the NLL. Like he deserves that. Yeah,
and it's always the people who will actually like pay it forward for the game who should be getting that type of light. Not that like maybe any other person who's getting shine or something like that shouldn't, but like, the people who are actually like putting the sport on their back and saying, hey, like, the tuitions and building schools and hey, like, I got my kid on FaceTime rather than talking about whatever nonsense or whatever, like promoting very positive things. Like that's what this podcast is about. It's about, giving people an outlet to talk about what they're passionate about. And it's lacrosse, and with lacrosse comes all these different things that, like just a way of life. It's the creator's game. It's it's a medicine game. But before we get going, I got to get your insights on what happened to the Chiefs those 2 games. Because you have played for the Chiefs before, right?
Yeah.
Of course, not with the same lineup of players, but you've been in that let's say that those situations where like all those people are looking and they're expected to be this like high caliber team. So like, have you ever been in a situation like that where it's just like you are on an all-star team and you're not playing up to the standard and you got all these people looking at you? Like that's just like even more intense, I feel.
Yeah. For the Chiefs, I was I couldn't believe it when they lost, right? But that comes with having such a great team. Sooner or later, like you're gonna hit a bump in the road, right? And that's fine. That they won last night. They blew Peterborough out of the water. I think that the Chiefs, they haven't lost since last Man Cup, like last year, and with a great team, everybody can play ball. Everybody knows where everybody's supposed to be. I just think coming into game one, that was just an upset. It just Peterborough just kind of like shocked the MSL world there. And being on it, like I've been on a team where we've been undefeated, and the pressure is all on the undefeated team, because you want to uphold that record, you want to uphold the standard that you've been playing all year, but you also have a huge target on your back. So Peterborough coming into that game, in the dressing room they're saying we got to knock these guys down, we got to beat them. They probably had a game plan. You're covering Lyle, you're covering Dane, you're going out the back door of this game to run the ball up, kind of thing. And yeah, just the game one, just an upset. Like it happens. That's why I always say in playoffs when you lose, some players get really upset. I always say this is why it's a series, because you have the opportunity to play it out, right? To see who's the best. Game two, that's one of those games. Like one of my buddies is Warren Hill. I work with him. We're really close. It's just one of those games where stuff happens, like dramatics can happen and go either way. Like they were tied and Peterborough scored 3 quick ones right near the end there, like very, like I would say maybe within a minute and a half. Talking to Warren, I was just like, what happened? Like sometimes I like to razz him up, but
no, don't fluster Warren. Don't fluster him.
I love to, like at work, like during the Halifax
especially
season.
at work. Don't do that. Don't do that to him at work.
Like I know when he was with Halifax in the wintertime, and I'm always like, what happened? You got ripped up. Like just to tease him. Right?
Yeah.
I know now, like this is like lockdown time. Like he's locked in. He needs to win. And I did ask him, I think it was actually today, we were in my office and I was like, hey, well, I got you here. Like what's going on? What happened? What happened out there? And he explained it really well. He's like, in those type of games, those things just happen. And it can go either way. A good bounce, a bad bounce, momentum, like it just happens, especially in such a high caliber
it's
level.
such a fast game.
Anything can happen, right? If someone gets open for half a second, they catch and they shoot. Like it's so quick, especially in senior A. Everybody's so smart. Everybody knows how to play the game so well. And he even said, he's like, it happens. I see they took it personally. They gave Peterborough a beating last night. But yeah, I've been a part of those kind of games where like you're clenching your teeth, like everybody's holding their stick a little too tight. Like, we need to score the next goal, or the other team needs to score the next goal, and you can almost feel it like in the air, like the energy, what's going to happen next. And it's just dependent on the player who's like our coach for Allegany, Billy D. Smith, very intense guy. Longtime Bandits player. He would always say, like, I know for the game where we went to overtime, that was like one of our first times where we were on edge. And he even said, he's like, he just got down and said, who's going to take control of this game, right? And it's almost that mentality that you have to have is when you get into situations like that is just be calm. It's still just another game. At the end of the day, it's a lacrosse game, right? It's just another game. So try not to think too deep into it. But yeah, game two, that's just stuff that just happens. I wouldn't say the Chiefs didn't play well. I wouldn't say that they were no good, but it just happens, right? Like, they look what happened. They stomped them. It just happens. Like,
yeah, and it just sucks too because like everyone should be afforded to mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's gonna have one game where it's gonna be off, whether it's one player or a team as an entity.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it sucks that like they lost, and then the whole community is kind of like, oh,
yeah,
we got knocked back a bit. Oh, like
Yeah.
we can be beaten type of thing. And then the second game came, and it was like, oh well,
yeah.
well, what are we doing here? What are we
Yeah.
doing, guys? Come on, man! Like, And then, but yeah, the third game they're finally back. I always just thought that they did it's almost like when you have more to lose. You have more to lose when you're already the best.
Yeah, when you're at the top, right? Everybody's waiting for you to fall down.
And then when Peterborough won that first game, I seen on their Instagram they were like, "Oh yeah," they made it a point. They made it a point just to be like, "Oh, they got their first loss. Let's keep this going." And then they kept it going on the second win. So it's like, "Oh, okay, I see this." As they should. They did win, so they have every right to do that.
Did you see when the goals stopped coming?
The goals
last night when the Chiefs stopped scoring. When they put Riverman goalie Drew Hutchison in.
Hey, I was
saying.
I was standing there with Cheryl during the game, and she was just like, "Oh, look at Hutchison's in." And then I was wondering how that would play out because what's their Peterborough's main goalie?
Landon Kells.
Yeah, Kells. Like I was wondering if he continues to play like this and they can't put Hutchinson in. Then because he's going to be gone with the Rivermen, right? Mm-hmm. Who are they left with?
What's his name? Buchan, somebody.
Oh yeah. They have Doug Buchan. He spent some time in the league with Bandits Rochester. I think they can pull from their other affiliate too if they need it to. From who's there? Is it Coburg? No, not Coburg.
Their two AP goalies were Drew Hutchison. And Deacon not.
And Deacon's out because he just not out, but didn't he just get I
think he's injured. Yeah.
Yeah, that happened in a Riverman game.
Yeah.
But that was their APs as far as I knew was Hutchie and Deacon. But that is when the bleeding stopped. It was when Hutchie went in. I mean, just saying, it's a nice problem to have two number one goalies going to the President's Cup.
And you got to go up against that.
He loves to throw.
I mean, depth-wise, goaltending. Come on,
who's the more petty one out of you two? Who will if you win or if you win, who's gonna bring this up every dinner table, everything that you?
Hey, you got your answers. Look at him.
It's not cocky if you can back it up.
Oh, okay. You're not even on the floor.
Here's the thing. And I said it in a because they just did a article on Layne and I. It went it's on a national newspaper, Wind Speaker.
Yeah.
And so what was it? When did it put out, Layne? A couple of days ago at 9 a.m.
I think Monday morning. Monday
morning at 9. By Monday evening, it had been picked up by smaller local papers across the country. It wasn't in the article that I remember, but I did tell the reporter that interviewed me. I did tell him that when it comes down to it, yes, for me the goal was to get both our names on that trophy, but as circumstance has it now, potentially only one of us are going to. And I said, and I'll say it to all these cameras, if I win, my dream is fulfilled. If I lose and Layne wins, I'll be so happy that he won, I'll forget that I lost.
So it's like you still win anyways.
Exactly.
Okay. See some Jedi mind tricks right there.
Yeah, Yoda right here.
Yeah, Yoda. So basically, you're the more petty one. Short answer.
On purpose, yeah.
Yeah, you're the.
I get the digs in.
He's been throwing a lot of. He's been digging for all summer long.
let me ask you, what does the teammates think of the podcast?
They're excited for it. I told them I was going on a couple of weeks ago when I was saying when I wanted to come on, and I gave them all a shout before I came. I was like, I'm going on the podcast tonight. They all can't wait for it to be released, and they're excited about it. I've had a couple of guys reach out to me. When are you going on? Are you going on next week? Chase was supposed to be here today, but he couldn't make it. I know he's really excited. He's really excited to watch it. They love watching it. They love. I think they love the lacrosse talk, but more so that it's Haudenosaunee based. Because you can listen to any old lacrosse podcast, right? But there's not I would say this is the only one that's Haudenosaunee based, so it's really good to represent the Haudenosaunee lacrosse. But they all love it. They all can't wait. They all can't wait for this episode to be released. They're giving me messages oh, chirp if you can. And I'm pretty chilled out. I'm relaxed. I get my digs in, and I'll save the chirping for the President's Cup.
Well, yeah, you'll have to come back, and I'll bring some of the players from Allegany.
And I'll bring the President's Cup.
There we go, and then bring some of the Rivermen as well.
Here's a little known fact. It's no secret of Coach Layne, right from paperweight. There's been a couple of years where I didn't, but still. Chase's first year as a goalie, I also coached him. Little known fact.
Well, we're gonna have to get Chase on the show.
Yeah.
I used to live in Chase's house.
Did you?
Before he lived there.
Oh, yeah.
Stone Ridge.
No way.
Yeah.
No, I always tell him when I go steal his numbers because I love numbers. I always go tell him when to steal his door numbers.
Just go steal his door number.
He wouldn't even notice either.
Well, he's
Probably
going to
doesn't even
notice
have
now.
door
You
numbers.
just
Stone Ridge nowadays, isn't it?
you just put it out globally. He's going to know now.
Yeah.
What?
Hey, better edit that out. Better cut that. Put it on the blooper reel.
Put it on the blooper reel.
Yeah, no, I'd love to get him out. He unfortunately couldn't make it today. But I know he likes to chirp a little more than I do.
So when we're done here, can you carry that out to the truck for me?
Yeah, I'll carry your beaver cup here, your Mario Kart cup.
The beaver tail. Just pet the beav.
So that's gonna be the hashtag.
I think that's a couple inches shorter than the CanAm trophy.
Yeah, well, it's made out of brass. CanAm trophy's made out of wood. So there's that.
Rich mahogany, that CanAm trophy.
Yeah, rich mahogany laminate.
Yo, tell that CanAm league. I'm down to help promote that.
Yeah,
I
I'll give 'em a
support
shout.
that Hood and Shoshone. Everybody getting together, playing some good old lacrosse. Any last minute shout outs before we get out of here?
No, Allegany on top. Let's go Arrows.
Allegany, Rivermen.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Next time we come back, we'll figure out who the President Cup winner is. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the Creators Game Podcast.